Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Reach if you're new, and this video is going to be the very first video in my Guide to a Good Life series, and yeah, how exciting. So for the first video, I kind of wanted to talk about something that, like a concept that has really affected like every part of my life. Like it has so greatly enhanced my life that I am a completely my day-to-day life is so completely different to how it was a few months ago. I am no longer procrastinating, and I used to be the biggest procrastinator ever. I was lazy, literally didn't get anything done until it was like the last bit of time I could do it before I had to face any consequences. Obviously because of this, I was just constantly stressed out, constantly anxious, because no matter what I was doing, in the back of my head, I was like, oh, I have something to be that I should be doing right now, you know? Like I'd be reading and I'd be like, oh, I have to like do that assignment. Like literally any relaxing thing that I would usually enjoy completely, it would be ruined because I was just so worried about the other stuff that I had been putting off. The thing was, like, I had very clear goals. I knew exactly what I needed to do to achieve what I wanted to achieve and like to make my life the way I wanted it to be. But when I thought about the individual tasks, I just got so overwhelmed that I literally couldn't, like it was kind of like paralyzing. And I was so, I guess it was just fear, like fear of what if, I don't know, that it was going to be difficult or that I'd have to struggle, like I'd have to be uncomfortable. So I would just ignore it and then push it farther and further. So I'd like away from me, so I didn't have to do it. I used to do nothing all day. I would obviously do the things that I had to do, like I would go to the classes I had to attend, I would go to tests, like I would do the bare minimum, like I'd go to appointments or meetings or whatever. But when I had my own, when I was like on my own, had free time, I wouldn't do anything that I actually wanted to do. Like I would just spend all day on my laptop in bed, just doing a variety of things on my laptop. I guess just like reading different things, and then also watching videos. And I did learn a lot by doing this. I would process so much information during like a day, but I still wasn't doing anything, you know, like I wasn't getting closer to what I wanted my life to look like, or what I wanted to become. I wasn't getting closer to any of my goals. I was just super stagnant because I was so scared of being uncomfortable. Yeah, and I was so not used to being productive that this year when I did sign myself up to get, like, when I did sign myself up for like volunteer shifts or work shifts or anything, anytime that I did one, even if it was like, those shifts are usually like 2 to 3 hours long, like both volunteer and work. It's not a big commitment of time or mental energy or anything, but because in my head I was like, oh, I did one productive thing, I would feel burnt out for the rest of the day. I was like, oh, okay, so I did a morning shift, now I'm done for the day, like I don't need to do anything else, right? Because I would feel so physically and mentally tired after doing that one thing that I couldn't do anything else. And that's because I was so not used to doing things. Also, it didn't help that I was kind of depressed. I was pretty depressed in first and second years of university. I'm currently in third year, so I'm doing a lot better, obviously, but it didn't help that I was depressed because that made my willpower to do anything even worse. So I can't just blame all of it on my procrastination, but if I had just changed my mindset earlier, I would have been where I am now earlier. And then because I was so unproductive all the time, I would compare myself to other people who are doing so many things during the day. Like they had meetings, they were studying, they were going to the gym, they were working on their hobbies, like they had so much going on with their life, and I wanted that so bad, but I just couldn't get myself to do it because I was just lazy. Yeah, so anyway, what changed all of this for me was when I learned about, or I guess realized, the concept of embracing discomfort to increase happiness. Like I realized that if I put myself into situations where I was uncomfortable, it made me happier, or it put me in a better mood, or it just made me, like, increased how content I was with what I was doing in my life and everything. By doing that, I would be enhancing my existence. And I came to this realization when I started going to the gym more regularly and doing yoga, because I was putting myself, like, obviously the first few weeks or few days, or yeah, weeks actually, of going to the gym, they're really rough because everything's just super uncomfortable. You don't know what you're doing with the exercises. You feel like people are watching you. It doesn't feel, sometimes the exercises don't feel natural, so everything is just super uncomfortable. And same with yoga, doing different stretches if you're not used to, if you're not flexible, or if you're not used to stretching or yoga positions, being in different positions can be kind of, it's just not comfortable, you know? I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, so I realized that when I was doing these things, it was awful in the moment that I was doing them, but afterwards I felt so good. I started also noticing this trend in other aspects of my life. Whenever I did something that was pretty awful when I was doing it, it usually led to me feeling better after I had done it. This is a pretty obvious thing. Everyone always says, like, push yourself outside of your comfort zone, but I still don't think it's I honestly still don't think that it's stressed enough, the fact that we should embrace discomfort because it leads to personal growth. Like, struggle is what leads to you growing as a person. That's why people who go through so much end up being in such a better position when they've gotten through it. Same with the song lyrics, like, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Like, everything is, it's so obviously in front of us, but we don't internalize the message. Like, although I heard all these phrases and everything, I just never realized the true meaning of them, and I never was able to apply that idea to my own life. It's kind of not so natural to think like this, because I feel like in our society right now we kind of equate comfort with happiness. That's why a lot of people are after money, because obviously if you have a lot of money, you can increase the comforts in your life, you can buy things to make you more comfortable, and therefore you will be happier. From my experience, happiness doesn't come from stuff like that. It comes from feeling accomplished, it comes from personal growth and being able to set goals for yourself and then reaching them and then seeing your progress and being like, oh yeah, like, just being excited about who you're becoming and what your life is becoming, and just having a set idea of what you want to be and then getting closer to it. Like, that's where happiness comes from, and that's what I've been doing. I've always wanted to be a YouTuber, so that's what I'm doing. Obviously it's super uncomfortable. Do you know how hard it is to post a video, like a vlog of what you're doing on in your life, and then post it to your Facebook account, which is then going to be, like, that post is then going to be promoted to literally everyone that I interact with ever in my whole, like, in my life right now. Like, it's weird because you're gonna get judgment from people, and everyone's obviously not gonna think it's what you think it is. So anyway, that's hard, but even though it's so uncomfortable, I'm doing it, and every time I post a video I feel so good. Like, I have this, like, euphoric rush of feeling. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, when I do stuff like that, the stuff that's more uncomfortable to do ends up making me feel better after it is done. Yeah, just like doing stuff like that is what makes life meaningful and exciting, because once you get closer to where you want to be, you just get excited because you're like, oh my god, I'm, like, getting closer, I'm achieving things, I'm doing what I've wanted to do, and it makes you excited to wake up in the morning, and then it makes it easy to wake up, and then you have more hours in the day, and then you're able to do more, and it's kind of like an exponential growth of satisfaction and happiness, and it makes your life meaningful, okay? Oh, it's just, I can't even stress how important it is. So now that you know what I'm talking about, like, how can you apply this to your life? So what I did was, it's pretty, like, one-step thing. You kind of just focus on becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so it's like putting yourself in situations on purpose that make you uncomfortable, because, and doing that over and over again with different situations. Like, for example, something that I used to do was I didn't like walking, like longer distances. Like, I didn't like walking to school, but because campus is like half an hour walk away. But then I just forced myself to do it, and eventually it got super easy, and then I started enjoying doing it. And then once I started enjoying doing it, it was both fun to do while I was doing it, and I felt accomplished after. What I'm trying to say is, you basically just, to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, you kind of just force yourself to do uncomfortable things. And once you do enough of those uncomfortable things, they no longer become uncomfortable. Like, then you are, like, you get used to them and they don't feel as awful as they did before. And yeah, that's basically it. That's what I started doing, and it changed my whole life. I just started forcing myself to do things, because also when you do this, you kind of realize that the hardest part is actually starting something. Once you're doing it, it's not that bad. Like, it's honestly not. Like, I'm sure you can agree with this too. Like, starting is the hardest part. So honestly, just like force yourself to do things, and it'll make you so much better. Okay, you'll feel better about everything. You won't be anxious because now you don't have that stuff to do anymore. You'll feel good about yourself. You'll feel proud. And then, yeah, just a good time. It'll just be a really good time, so please just try it. I'll start off by thinking of and writing a list of stuff that you want to do more of, just in general in your life. Like, what do you want to do? Like, for me, it was, I wanted to read more books, I wanted to be more creative, I wanted to exercise more, or start exercising, because I literally didn't at all. I was super inactive, and I wanted to eat healthier, I wanted to eat out less, I wanted to spend less money. And then once you have this list, you kind of just do it. You just force yourself to, you make those big tasks smaller tasks, and then you just do them. And for this, a planner works well, having to-do lists works well, and you kind of, and obviously you have to forgive yourself for any mistakes. Like, you obviously can't expect yourself to just be perfect and do it right away. Like, it still takes time, it's still a process. But once you focus on the concept of being okay with being uncomfortable, like, when you're doing these uncomfortable things, if you're thinking in your head like, oh, this is good because it's going to lead to my personal growth, like, me being uncomfortable right now is going to make me feel, it's going to help me reach new levels of good feelings, then it becomes easier, because you have this higher goal that you're trying to achieve with this smaller uncomfortable task, you know? Do you know what I'm trying to say here? So, like, you know what also really helps if you really want to improve your self-discipline? It is going to the gym, because when you're doing exercises that are hard, when you're like, for me it's pull-ups. Pull-ups are awful for me. My upper body strength is awful, so whenever I'm like doing it, every time I'm like on the verge of like death, I make myself do 2 more, and then this leads to self-discipline. This leads to you getting more stuff done, and basically just apply. If you do that, you'll have experience with it, and then you'll be able to apply it outside of the gym and into your daily life. And that's kind of what happened with me. That's it. I probably rambled so much in this video, and I'm sorry, but it's just hard, because I've never done a sit-down talky video like this before, and it's hard to organize my thoughts, because I'm trying to think of everything that I want to say, but I'm also worried that my sentence structure isn't right, and yeah, it's just like a lot of stuff going on in my brain when I'm doing this. And I'm also like thinking about like, oh, I hope I'm not moving around too much, or I hope I'm not saying or like. So yeah, makes me uncomfortable, but I'm doing it anyway. See? Wow, it works. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching, as always, and hope you found this video helpful in some way, shape, or form. I will see you in my next video. Goodbye, I love you. Mwah.